What's up everyone? Welcome to the channel, and today, we are starting the craziest series we have ever attempted. This is part 1 of a 3-part series where we are going to explore the most incredible structures ever built by humans, the wonders of the world. And let me tell you, these lists have changed a lot over the centuries. There isn't just one list of 7 wonders, there are a bunch of them. So for this first episode, we're going all the way back in time to look at the original list, the 7 wonders of the ancient world. In the next videos, we'll be tackling the Middle Ages and then the modern era, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. This ancient list is basically the world's first travel guide. A couple of thousand years ago, around the 1st century, ancient Greek tourists started exploring the Mediterranean, and they wrote down the most mind-blowing things they saw. These weren't just buildings, they were the absolute peak of human creativity and engineering at the time. Imagine seeing these things for the first time without any photos or videos. It would have been absolutely insane. The craziest part is that out of all 7 of these legendary structures, only one is still standing today. That's right, just one. So today, we're going on an epic historical adventure to uncover the stories behind all 7. We're going to start with the sole survivor, the Great Pyramid of Giza, and then we're going to virtually reconstruct the other 6 lost wonders. I'm going to show you what they looked like, how they were built, and the insane stories of how they were destroyed. This is the ultimate bucket list from 2,000 years ago, and we're going to check off every single item. Are you ready for this? Let's go. Alright, first up, we're starting with the legend, the icon, the only ancient wonder you can still see with your own eyes, the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. This thing is an absolute monster. Seriously, when you stand next to it you feel tiny. It was built around 4,500 years ago for the pharaoh Khufu, and for almost 4,000 years, it was the tallest man-made structure on the entire planet. Nothing else even came close. Think about that. For 4 millennia, this pyramid was the king. It's absolutely mind-boggling to comprehend that level of dominance. The sheer scale of this project is what gets me. It's made of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, and some of these blocks weigh as much as 80 tons. That's like lifting 12 elephants at once, and they did this without any modern cranes or machinery. How did they do it? Honestly, nobody knows for sure. There are so many theories. Ramps, levers, maybe even some kind of water-based system. It's one of history's greatest mysteries, and it just makes the pyramid even more incredible. Standing here, you can literally feel the weight of history all around you. This wasn't just a big pile of rocks. It was a sacred tomb, designed to protect the pharaoh's body and help his soul travel to the afterlife. The inside is a maze of chambers and passages, all built with insane precision. The sides of the pyramid are aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. The level of engineering and astronomical knowledge they had back then is just on another level. It's a testament to what humans can achieve when they put their minds to something absolutely massive. Today, it stands as the ultimate symbol of ancient ingenuity and power. It has survived earthquakes, wars, and the relentless passage of time. While the other 6 wonders have crumbled to dust, the Great Pyramid remains, challenging us to solve its secrets. It's not just a wonder of the ancient world, it's a wonder for all time. Seeing it in person is a life-changing experience, and it's the perfect place to kick off our insane journey through history. 1 down, 6 to go. Next up, we're heading to the coast of Egypt to what was once the site of the 2nd wonder, the Lighthouse of Alexandria. This wasn't just any lighthouse, it was the very first major lighthouse in the world, and it was an absolute game-changer for ancient sailors. Built around 280 BC on the island of Pharos, this thing was a skyscraper of the ancient world. Estimates say it stood somewhere between 330 and 450 feet tall, making it one of the tallest structures on Earth at the time, second only to the Great Pyramid. It was so famous that the word Pharos became the root for lighthouse in many languages. Imagine you're an ancient sailor, navigating the treacherous Mediterranean Sea at night. For centuries you'd rely on stars and landmarks, but it was incredibly dangerous. Then suddenly you see this massive tower with a giant fire blazing at its peak, a light so powerful it could be seen from up to 35 miles away. It would have been like seeing a beacon from the gods. The lighthouse guided countless ships safely into the bustling harbor of Alexandria, which was one of the most important centers of commerce and culture in the world. It was a symbol of safety, innovation, and the power of the Ptolemaic kingdom. The design itself was revolutionary. It was built in 3 distinct sections. The base was a massive square fortress, the middle was an octagonal tower, and at the very top was a circular section where the fire burned day and night. The most incredible part was a giant curved mirror, likely made of polished bronze, that was used to project the fire's light out to sea. During the day, it could even be used to reflect sunlight. This was cutting-edge technology for its time, a true marvel of engineering and optics that wouldn't be matched for over 1,000 years. Sadly, like most of the ancient wonders, the Lighthouse of Alexandria couldn't last forever. It stood for over 1,500 years, withstanding wars and the elements, but a series of powerful earthquakes between the 10th and 14th centuries eventually brought it crumbling down. The final ruins slipped into the sea in 1480, but the story doesn't end there. In 1994, archaeologists discovered massive stone blocks and statues on the seafloor right where the lighthouse once stood. So even though the tower is gone, its legacy literally lies just beneath the waves, a sunken treasure from a lost world. For our third wonder, we're traveling to the Greek island of Rhodes to talk about a statue so massive, it's become the stuff of legend, the Colossus of Rhodes. This wasn't just a statue, it was a gigantic 110-foot-tall bronze monument to the sun god, Helios. That's about the same height as the Statue of Liberty from her feet to the top of her head. It was built around 280 BC to celebrate the Rhodians' victory after successfully defending their island from a massive siege. It was their way of saying, "We won, and our god is awesome." They literally built their victory into the skyline. The construction was an insane feat of engineering. They started with a massive marble base, and then built an iron and stone framework. After that, they covered the entire thing with bronze plates, making it shine like the sun itself. One of the biggest debates in history is how this thing actually stood. For centuries, people imagined it straddling the harbor entrance, with ships sailing between its legs. It's an epic image, but it's almost certainly impossible from an engineering standpoint. Most historians now believe it stood on a pedestal to one side of the harbor, with one hand shielding its eyes, looking out to sea. The Colossus was a breathtaking sight, a shining symbol of Rhodes' wealth and freedom. But here's the crazy part. Out of all the 7 wonders, it had the shortest lifespan. It stood for only 54 years. In 226 BC, a powerful earthquake rocked the island of Rhodes, and the mighty Colossus snapped at the knees and came crashing down. The damage was so catastrophic that the giant statue lay in ruins where it fell. The people of Rhodes were devastated. The famous Oracle of Delphi told them not to rebuild it, so they just left the massive bronze pieces lying on the ground. And there it lay, for over 800 years. Even in ruins, it was so impressive that people, including the famous historian Pliny the Elder, traveled from all over just to see the wreckage. He wrote that few men could even wrap their arms around the fallen thumb. The story ends in 654 AD, when an Arab army captured Rhodes. They gathered up all the bronze pieces of the fallen Colossus, broke them down, and sold them for scrap. Legend says it took 900 camels to carry all the metal away. A tragic end for a wonder that burned so brightly, but so briefly. Wonder number 4 takes us to Olympia, Greece, the home of the original Olympic Games. And inside a massive temple built in honor of the king of the gods, there was a statue so magnificent it was said to have left people speechless, the Statue of Zeus at Olympia. This wasn't just a carving, it was a 40-foot-tall masterpiece crafted by the greatest sculptor of the ancient world, Phidias. To put that in perspective, if Zeus were to stand up, he would have blown the roof right off his own temple. It was designed to inspire pure awe and religious devotion. The sheer luxury of this statue is, honestly, hard to even imagine. The main frame was made of wood, but every visible part was covered in the most expensive materials on Earth. The throne itself was made of cedar wood and decorated with ebony, ivory, gold, and precious stones, depicting scenes from Greek mythology. Zeus's skin was carved from huge plates of ivory, and his robes, beard, and hair were fashioned from pure, hammered gold. In one hand, he held a small statue of Nike, the goddess of victory, and in the other, a scepter topped with an eagle. People who saw it said it was more like seeing the god himself than a statue of him. This statue was the absolute centerpiece of the Temple of Zeus for centuries, Athletes competing in the Olympic Games would swear their oaths before it, and pilgrims would travel from across the Greek world just to gaze upon its majesty. Legend has it that when Phidias finished his work, he asked Zeus for a sign of his approval, and a lightning bolt struck the temple floor without damaging anything. The statue was so revered that it was meticulously cared for, with priests constantly applying olive oil to the ivory to prevent it from cracking in the humid Greek climate. The exact fate of the statue of Zeus is, well, one of history's great mysteries. After the Olympic Games were banned in 391 AD as a pagan ritual, the temple was abandoned and fell into neglect. Some accounts say the statue was destroyed along with the temple in a fire in the 5th century AD. Another, more popular story claims it was disassembled and moved to a palace in Constantinople, which is modern-day Istanbul, where it was later destroyed in a massive fire in 475 AD. Either way, this incredible work of art, a god made of gold and ivory, vanished from the world, leaving only ancient descriptions and a legend of its unparalleled splendor. Okay, for our 5th wonder, we're going to what is now modern-day Turkey, to the ancient city of Ephesus. Here stood a temple so grand, so beautiful, that it made all other temples look like sheds. This was the Temple of Artemis, dedicated to the Greek goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, and fertility. This wasn't just one temple though. The crazy story of this wonder is that it was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times over hundreds of years, with each version trying to be more spectacular than the last. It's the ultimate comeback story of the ancient world. The most famous version of the temple, the one that made the list of wonders, was completed around 550 BC. It was huge, over 400 feet long and 200 feet wide, with more than 127 massive marble columns, each 60 feet tall. To give you some perspective, the Parthenon in Athens could practically fit inside it. The temple was a religious sanctuary, a marketplace, and a work of art all in one. It was decorated with incredible sculptures and paintings by the most famous artists of the day. It was truly the jewel of the ancient world, a shining white marble beacon of devotion to Artemis. But then, disaster struck in the most bizarre way possible. In 356 BC, on the very same night that Alexander the Great was supposedly born, a man named Herostratus burned the temple to the ground. Why? He wasn't an enemy soldier or a religious fanatic. He simply wanted to be famous. He wanted his name to go down in history, even if it was for a horrible act. The Ephesians were so angry, they made it illegal to even speak his name, but clearly, that didn't work. They were determined not to let this act of vandalism be the end, so they immediately began planning to rebuild it, even bigger and better. This new temple, funded in part by Alexander the Great himself, was even more magnificent than the one it replaced and stood for another 600 years. It was a major site of pilgrimage for centuries until it was finally destroyed for good by a Gothic invasion in 268 AD. The city of Ephesus later declined, and the temple's marble was carried away and used in other buildings across the region. Today, all that remains at the site is a single solitary column, pieced together from the ruins. It stands as a lonely monument to what was once one of the most magnificent structures ever built, a testament to both human creativity and our capacity for destruction. Wonder number 6 is another marvel from modern-day Turkey in the city of Bodrum, anciently known as Halicarnassus. This wonder is a tomb, but it was so epic and over the top that it gave us the word we still use today for any grand tomb, a mausoleum. This was the mausoleum at Halicarnassus, built for a ruler named Mausolus. Now, here's the interesting part. Mausolus started planning and building his own tomb before he even died. He wanted to create a final resting place that would be so magnificent, it would secure his legacy forever. After Mausolus died in 353 BC, his wife and sister, Artemisia II, not to be confused with the goddess, was so grief-stricken that she took over the project and spared no expense to make it the most beautiful tomb on earth. She hired the 4 most famous Greek sculptors of the time and gave each of them one side of the structure to decorate. The result was a building unlike any other. It was about 148 feet tall and was a wild mix of architectural styles, Greek, Egyptian, and Lycian, covered from top to bottom with incredible statues and reliefs depicting epic battles and mythical scenes. The structure was a 3-tiered marvel. The base was a massive podium covered in sculptures, the middle section featured 36 massive columns in the Greek style, and it was all topped with a stepped pyramid roof. At the very peak of the roof stood the grand finale, a gigantic marble sculpture of a four-horse chariot with statues of Mausoleum and Artemisia riding in it, ascending to the heavens. It was more than a tomb. It was a monument to love, power, and the desire for eternal fame. The building was so beautiful it was considered a wonder for its artistic merit as much as its size. The mausoleum stood for an incredible 1,600 years, overlooking the city of Halicarnassus. It survived Alexander the Great's conquest and attacks by pirates, but like the Lighthouse of Alexandria, its ultimate doom came from the earth itself. A series of earthquakes between the 12th and 15th centuries slowly shattered the magnificent structure. In the 15th century, the Knights of St. John arrived, and finding the tomb in ruins, they used its polished marble blocks to fortify their castle, which still stands today. Some of the amazing sculptures were saved and are now in the British Museum, giving us a direct glimpse of this wonder's incredible beauty. And finally, we've arrived at the seventh and most mysterious wonder of them all, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. This is the only one of the seven wonders that might not have existed at all. There are no definitive Babylonian texts that mention it, and no archaeological evidence has ever been found at the site of ancient Babylon in modern-day Iraq. Its story comes almost entirely from later Greek and Roman writers, who described it in vivid, second-hand detail. It's a historical ghost, a beautiful puzzle that has fascinated people for centuries. According to the legend, the gardens were built around 600 BC by the great Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar II. The story goes that he built them for his wife, Midas, who was from a mountainous region and missed the green hills and valleys of her homeland. To make her happy, he supposedly constructed an artificial mountain of terraced gardens right in the middle of the flat, arid landscape of Babylon. It was said to be an oasis of lush greenery with trees, shrubs, and flowers from all over the world cascading down the sides of a massive ziggurat-like structure. The engineering required for such a thing would have been absolutely legendary. How do you get water to the top of a massive man-made mountain in the middle of the desert? The ancient writers described a complex chain pump system, a series of buckets on a chain that would have been worked continuously by slaves to lift water from the nearby Euphrates River all the way to the highest terrace. From there, the water would flow down through channels, irrigating each level of the garden. If it was real, it would have been a breathtaking spectacle of green in a world of brown, a true paradise on earth. But if it wasn't in Babylon, where could it have been? A more recent and compelling theory suggests that the whole story got mixed up. Some historians now believe the gardens were real, but they were actually built by the Assyrian king Sennacherib, not Nebuchadnezzar, and they were located in the city of Nineveh, 300 miles to the north. There is archaeological evidence of a massive aqueduct and water system in Nineveh, and Assyrian texts describe a magnificent palace garden. So, were the Hanging Gardens a beautiful Babylonian legend, or were they a real Assyrian wonder that got its address wrong? We may never know for sure, making it the most enchanting mystery on our list. And that is a wrap on the 7 wonders of the ancient world. From the only survivor in Giza to the Phantom Gardens of Babylon, the stories behind these structures are absolutely insane. It's incredible to think about the ambition, the technology, and the sheer willpower it took to create these masterpieces thousands of years ago. It really makes you wonder what else from our history has been lost to time. I want to know which one of these 7 wonders you would want to see the most if you could travel back in time. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching our first video in this massive 3-part series on the wonders of the world. I hope you guys had as much fun on this historical adventure as I did. We put a ton of work into this one, so if you enjoyed it, please smash that like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss what's coming next. We have so much more insane history to explore together, and you're not going to want to miss a single second of it. Your support means the world to us. Next week, we've got part 2 coming out, where we'll be exploring the wonders of the Middle Ages. If it's already been a week, you can click the video on the screen right here to check it out. If it hasn't been a week yet, then just be patient. It's coming soon, I promise. Hit that notification bell so you know the exact moment it drops. Thanks again for everything, and hopefully, we'll see you for the next installment.